Hello, Sparrows. Happy Monday, Sparrows. Welcome to the room. I am Valerie Miller of TVM, the Valerie Miller Double Gold. This very moment, you have opportunity to change. Welcome in. It's Matters of the Heart Monday. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to be chatting, having a chat conversation tonight, of course, from how I became fabulous as a lady all the time. So we're going to do a little one-on-one tonight. Welcome in. Come on in. And we're going to be speaking from chapter 37. Fall in love with your newness. Indeed. Fall in love with your newness. Hi, Melissa. How are you? Come on in. Come on into the room. Thank you for coming in and joining me tonight. Thank you so much. We're going to be speaking on reflections, newness, and remembering why. Michael Zuniga. Hey, guy. How are you? So good to see you coming in. Yes, indeed. It is fabulous. It is Monday. Happy birthday to everybody celebrating birthdays today. Just want to make sure I get all of that out in the air before I get started. But when I'm talking about falling in love with your newness and remembering why you felt was necessary. And there are times, we kind of reflect back on things, familiar sometimes pulls us back in to something that we once had or something that was great once upon a time. And reflections can be good, but learn how to pull yourself back out of it. You have people show up from your past sometimes, and it could be great to have conversations and reminiscing on things. However, don't forget why you left. That's where this is coming from on tonight. So come on in. Be sure to voice your opinions, put some things in comments where you can reflect back on where you know for certain that you almost got caught by that bug and you almost went backwards when you know for certain you should have been moving forward in your life. And of course, newness isn't always easy when you have to make decisions in your life where you have to be single, where you have to try new things that's unfamiliar. So that's where it's all coming from on tonight. So I know it's going to be short and sweet. And I love having these brief topics of conversations like this because it's that time of year. I love when the time comes and we're faced with challenges of change and looking at what changes are going to warrant, making those decisions to do it, sticking it out, holding true to yourself, knowing what you want, right? And there's so many ways of going about reflection, making that decision to make the change in your life to where you can move forward into that newness. That is not an easy conversation to have with yourself sometimes. However, when it does come about and you make it, then okay. It's okay. It's okay because it's opportunity to do many things when it comes to this particular space in your life. What are you going to do with the time that you now have available? Time is going to be changing, moving forward, or is it back? Moving back an hour on Sunday. And that means it's going to be longer days and nights. Oh my gosh. So with those types of things on the horizon, how do you go about feeling about newness and those reflections? I'm not fond of them myself. There are times you have to fall in love over and over and over with those particular moments. That is for certain. Hi, Shatavia, come on in. Good to see you, doll. Good to see you. But like I said, just a little seed for thought that I wanted to plant in your mind to say, fall in love with yourself over and over and over again if you have to, because sometimes we settle in spaces that are not comfortable. We settle in those places that is unforgiving at times when you can sell yourself out. Hey, Veronica. Good to see you in the room, sissy. We're just talking about a little bit of chapter 37. tonight, falling in love with your newness. Uh-huh. And it's not easy, girl. It's not always easy. However, when you can get through that growing pain of giving up those familiar moments, then it becomes easier and easier as time goes by, day after day, because you know the importance of yourself and you love yourself, right? So it is vital to get past that hump of familiar when you're kind of just thrown back into it. Let familiar go in order to embrace the unknown, the things of possibilities, the things that can really steer you into a different direction, a different space in your life that's only going to catapult you, make you excited about life. Hi, Frankie Sullivan. So these are one of the things that I have to keep in touch with for myself. And this afternoon, I had a conversation with a friend that is faced with having reflections of things past and um, being in a different space of right now. And it's an adjustment, and she's becoming greater and greater and doing all the things that she's been wanting to do for so long. And talking about the excitement of her and who she's becoming because of her deciding to embrace her newness. So that's what I'm talking about when you have to be reminded why you left in the first place. It's not always easy to make the decision to leave because of the familiar, being comfortable in it. And so we had a miniature celebration this afternoon. So, you know what? I want to talk about this tonight because she was telling me how much it helped her when reading this book and that chapter 37, and just different things that I said at different times within that chapter, and how what I said and what I did in that space to introduce me to myself again. Because when you're caught in a situation and you've been with someone for so long, you tend to start doing the things that they like doing more so than your own. Those sacrifices take place, and then you lose identity of yourself. And when you lose identity of yourself and that relationship ends, it makes it tough for you to bounce back and source. That's why it's easy to sway back to that familiar situation because you've totally forgotten what it is that you like, what it is that you enjoy. That's what I'm talking about. Reintroducing yourself to you and knowing the importance of that, especially in particular places in your life. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're younger or older, if you're single, if you're divorced, or whatever the case is. You have to accept your life for what it is and what it looks like. Things that happen, knowing that they happen for reasons. So, what are you going to do in the meantime? What do you want to do that's going to make a difference in your life today? Personally, I enjoy newness. I'm always challenge based. I love going out doing things that are different, things that I have on my list of things to do. That's what I'm talking about. Fall in love with your newness. And it could be something that you've been wanting to do for an extremely long time, just haven't had opportunity because of the situation that you're in. And it doesn't mean that this is just for singles. This is also for those that are married. You still have to maintain your identity. Maintain your identity. You can become one, however, there are things that you enjoy doing. Continue to do those things that you enjoy. Otherwise, you're gonna lose true self in the midst of it all. That's what I'm talking about. And you don't see it happening until it's actually done. And you're introduced to a space to where, oh my God. I considered reading a portion of that chapter, but I won't because I don't know who's read the book, who hasn't read the book. But if you have, voice your opinion, write something in comments that's relative to when you reflect back of something past in the midst of your newness. Go ahead and make a comment on that. I'll be interested in seeing what you'd have to say on that. I really would. Because even now, for myself, I can see whomever I want, I can go out and those things. And that's even new because coming out of a situation where I was before. It was a 7 year relationship in a sense. And then coming out of that and then meeting new people, there are times when I used to say, I truly don't want to meet anybody new. I don't want to meet anybody new because of all the effort that goes into it. However, once I start reflecting back on past relationships, especially that last one, mm-mm, I embrace the fact of newness. I want everything new and different. I don't want the opportunity to fix it, bring it back together, because there are times when you can try that so many times to where it's just not working, and you accept the fact that it's just not working, and you want newness. I know I do. Hi, Nancy Clark. So that's what I would like to introduce is different seeds of thought to make you ponder where are your relationships today? And when you reflect over them, are you happy in them? If you're not, what are you doing to make them greater? What are you willing to do to make them magnificent? If they're not able to be made magnificent, what is going to be your next steps in your life to bring some newness into it, something fresh and fabulous, something that's going to make you smile? This gives you that endorphins that really boost your ego, that makes you excited about life, even if it's just with yourself, because you have to marry you in order to be inclusive with anybody else. That's what I'm bringing to the light tonight. Enjoy you first before you bring somebody else in. So every space of life, it doesn't matter if you're an individual that's single, if you're married, if you are seeking a relationship, if you're in a relationship and you want it to be greater, if you want your marriage to be greater, that's what I do. These are conversations that I have as a conscious lifestyle strategist. There is nothing that's off the table when I'm working and talking with clients. I know for certain the conversation that I had today was a very interesting one. And just because, she mentioned, she said, Val, I read the chapter and I read it over again because I've read the book several times. And it's great insight of different things that I can do to make my life greater, to make things good. And I said, well, that's wonderful. So what's your next steps? And she told me that. And she said, I'm embracing me more. And I reflect back on the good times. However, I made the decision not to go backwards. She hasn't 100% made that decision just yet. However, she's enjoying everything that her new life is bringing her. And she's comparing where she is now as an individual versus who she was a year ago versus who she could be moving forward. And if she's willing to make sacrifices of that new space that she's in to even go backwards. But then, me, I'm always saying I'm forward thinking, always forward thinking that it's going this way. It's a reason why everything happens. Remember your why. Remember why it ended. Never forget that. You can forgive it. You can move on in your space of life. However, never forget why you left. That's what I'm saying. Regita, is it Ridley? Richly. How are you tonight? So I hope I'm planting that seed. I hope I'm just prompting just a little curiosity or a little bit of something that's making you say, hey, oh my goodness, why am I in this space? What is, on the forefront for me? What is going on in my life? How can I utilize the benefits of reflecting of my past to present who I am right now, the newness of who I am right now? Because the gift is there, the truth is there. Hi, Ian. Hello, James. Hi, Angel. I'm calling you tomorrow. Angel, I'm calling you tomorrow. So that's what I want to plant the seed on tonight. Reflections are beautiful. It takes you into the past and, it brings about joy, and it could bring about some hurt, but it's not always a bad thing. It's a purpose in all things. However, what's going to be the end result that's going to come out of it. Because I know when I think over, you know, relationships past, there might be a moment of like, oh, I didn't like that. However, this was fabulous. I am in love with this part of it. I took this from this person. I learned this from this person. So it's never to me a bad thing when it comes to a relationship that ends. It could be growth. It could be things that's going to challenge you to do greater because it's not always the other person. Take responsibility of your actions in the midst of it. It takes two to tango. It takes two. And that's what I see when it comes to those types of things. So coming from chapter 37, it was interesting to have the conversation that I had today. And I wanted to bring it and share it with you all tonight. Because what tickles me the most is when I go back, because after, granted, I wrote the book. Granted, I'm talking about my life, but it's different things that take place in my life and yours that we have to look at sometimes. And we forget. We get so often of things that we've gone through until we're reminded of it. So when we're reminded of these things, it's like, oh, wow, I did go through that. So I sat here and I read the chapter all over again. It's like, oh my goodness, I remember that. I remember that. And just the different things that I go through. And once I've accepted what it is, it's not tough for me to move forward. However, it could be challenge for other people. And when it's a challenge for somebody else, and they come to me, then we can break it down. I like breaking things down and asking those tough questions or asking the questions that you may not want to ask yourself. I love it. I love tearing things apart in order to build them again the right way. Prayer is everything. And just having that strength to make the decision to move on from something that is not the absolute greatest. I know it's not. I know it's not. And when I know, it's time to do something about it. There's no way I'm going to turn deaf ear to something that I know is necessarily time. Don't exceed that time because you're blocking your blessing to that actual newness that's waiting on you. Why stay someplace that isn't bringing you joy, not something that you love? That's what I just want to say to you tonight. So I couldn't be more excited that, my friend called me with this good news. She was in a situation that ended, and then she was introduced to the moment to where the guy came back to her and wanted to reconnect. And she entertained it for a moment. However, when she started reflecting back on how she felt, who she became, and then she fast forwarded to her present, to what she's doing now, what it took for her to get to this space, because it's not always easy to make that decision to leave because you're so caught up in that familiar. Familiar can really do some things to us sometimes. Let it go. Let it go. Be excited about it because new is just that, new. Think about that moment you received something brand new and you opened it for the first time, and it's a part of yourself that you've forgotten about, something that you have suppressed for so long because you're always transforming to this person that the other individual wants you to be. You're just accommodating that person all the time to where you've lost identity of yourself. Now that you're in this new space and you can tap back into yourself and rediscover you, the person that you've always been, and even greater, because now that you've learned the lesson that God has brought you to, that's a gift. Oh my gosh, that is such a gift. And when you know how fabulous you feel of who you have now become because you let that person go and then you've introduced yourself to you again, you've grown in spaces. Your fingerprints have changed. Your identity has changed. Your everything has changed because you've fallen in love with yourself. You've fallen in love with that newness of who you are. You've reassociated yourself. And then that person wants to have the audacity to come back. Shame. But of course they do. Oh, yeah, they do all the time. And you may hear me talk about different topics, at different times. And it's because of that very thing. Someone has tried to reintroduce themselves in my life. I'm not into it. I don't want it, not having it, because it takes a lot of time to become the newness in you, to get past that fear and knowing, you know what? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is amazing. I love who I am. I love who I was all the time. And I forgive myself for ignoring myself, because we can't ignore ourselves sometimes just to appease somebody else in the midst of moments. It's not always intentional, but we do it subconsciously, not even thinking about it, especially if you're a people pleaser, and that's never the thing to do or the person to be. Hi, Fab, Michael McCaskill. Hi, Bestie Lou. Welcome to the room. So that's all I want to bring to you tonight. Reflect over where you are presently. Reflect back. Do you want more of what you've had before? Chances are you don't, especially when you left that situation. It's gone, it's over. Accept that. There are going to be times when you think back and say, oh, wow, I remember those good times. I remember those good times. Perfect angel. Don't put new wine in an old wineskin. It is disgusting. That would be disgusting, angel. That would be so nasty. That's the perfect way of looking at it. New is just new. It's crisp. It's clean. It's pure. It's exciting. It's joy. It's something you've forgotten, or something that you know for certain for a long time. Now the door of opportunity has presented itself and you opened it. You walked through it and then you closed it behind you. When you've done that, it's no reason to look behind you. No more. No more. It's done. Celebrate the new. Look forward to that road that's in front of you. Be grateful for the experience, because it's always something in it to teach us. It's always something that's of a bright light in the midst of it. It's no reason to hold on to the negative of it. Be grateful for the good in it. All of it, actually, because you changed in those places. You've identified the issue. You can work on yourself to be greater. You accept the other person for who they are. Don't blame them. Don't hate them. Don't mistreat. Still love them in the midst of it. There's no reason not to love at any time. Love is the foundation of all things. And love them enough to leave. You may hear me say often, I love you that much. Anytime I can tag something and say, I love you that much, I had to do what I had to do. Because as much as I love you, I love me. I love me. I respect me. I want me to be happy just like I want you to be happy. And sometimes we have to separate from each other in order to be who we are meant to be. I serve purpose in your life. The season's over. You serve purpose in my life. The season's over. Accept that. Please do not extend that contract, because the moment you do, you reap the repercussions of it. I've learned that. I learned it the hard way. Staying too long and missing out on opportunities that could have presented itself. However, there's no right or wrong in it. When you recognize it, that it needs to be done, do it. No reason to procrastinate. No need to hang out in it. And at the end of the day, be a bud that's excited about blooming. And you cannot bloom unless you nurture yourself and put yourself in the midst of the light that's going to cause you to open up. It's going to cause you to change. It's going to cause you to accept. It's going to cause you to simply be. And you can't test the waters of who you have become until you leave familiar behind. Let familiar stay there. Thank you for working on a few things. Thank you for coming back and trying. I applaud you. However, I remember why I left. Always remember why you leave. It'll keep you from making mistakes. It'll keep you from spinning in the same circles. It'll prevent you from repeating heartbreak you've already had once before. Once you learn the lesson, pass the class. And I mean pass it with flying colors and then move on. There's no reason to stop there because reality always display in plain sight. It's up to you to see it. It's up to you to accept it. It's basically up to you to move on. So chapter 37 was a great refresher read for me today. I'm grateful that my friend reread it and used it in her moment of making a decision of going backwards or moving forward in her life. And she celebrated in the best way. We celebrated together on the phone. And this goes to show, God, you know what? Thank you for giving me the insight to write. Thank you for putting me in the place to be transparent and vulnerable, to share my stories, my life, because choosing to do that indeed helps other people. And that's the whole point of me being who I am, doing what I do. It's not about me at all, but it's about who I can help in the midst of moments. That gave me joy today. It gave me joy today. And I love you guys so much to just wanted to plant that seed. Have continual moments in your life where you can reflect back and think of the things that could have possibly given you the most heartache and who you are today because of it. Wounds mend. We change for purpose. We change for reasons. We are put in those positions to learn something, to share with somebody else. And when we can share with somebody else our woes, and then you get to smile on the other side because you landed in that place of peace, that's worth celebrating. It's worth celebrating. And I say, God, thank you all the time for delivering me from that, for keeping me from going back over there. And I see people now, like it could be an ex, it could be whatever. People that used to be in my life, and I see them as, and I know I'm not the only one that said, oh my God, Jesus, thank you. Ooh, hallelujah. Jesus, thank you. Ooh, I dodged that bullet in my Beyonce voice. Say, ooh, I dodged that one. Thank you. Because you and only God can see that. Something that's coming in our futures that we may not see in the midst of those present moments. That person was not somebody that was supposed to lead you. They were not supposed to lead you. They could lead you to some place that you are not supposed to be. And know who you are. Know who you are. Stand true to your identity. Don't exchange who you are to be with somebody that you're truly not supposed to be with. Reflect in moments, embrace your newness, and remember why you left. Don't even have the conversations of a possibility of a rekindle. Now, unless you're married and that's something that can be fixed, that's because you stood before God and took a vow, and depends on why you separated in that, then you entertain that. But if you're not married and you know clearly that this was supposed to be that stake in the ground, that is supposed to be done, finished, move on. Bid them adieu. Say, you know what? Thank you so much. However, I've fallen so deep in love with my God, with the Lord that I serve, with myself. There's, I love you as an individual. However, I can't possibly see me going backwards because I'm only moving forwards. Be honest with yourself. Never settle for wooden nickels, as my mom would say. Don't settle for those wooden nickels. Don't do it. And the quote, there is a quote that I wrote, or well, it's not mine. I put it in the book. It's by Henry D. Thoreau, and I love this guy. And the quote, the last thing that I wrote in this chapter was, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined." imagined. And you only live the life imagined by having those reality checks, those reflections, and knowing who you have become, respecting that, respecting the person that used to be in your life, understanding the purpose for them being in it, thanking them for that time that they invested in you, as well as what you've invested in them as well. Love is love at the end of the day. Always give it away, but don't deplete yourself in a space that really is going to cause you to be doomed. So when you can love and leave with grace, have some dignity, your integrity is intact, and you are at peace in your heart, then you know you've done the right thing. That's all that matters. So never look back on something that you've made a decision in the midst of moving forward in. We don't know how much life we have from day one to day two to next week to the next 5 seconds. We don't know how much time we have remaining in our life's glass. We don't know that because it's different for each one. So have joy in the midst of every day. Be happy always. And know that your dreams can come true. And if someone is not fueling you in that space, if that person is not building you up, if that person is only taking, however, not giving, it's time to excuse yourself from that space. Because you should know that you deserve what you are dreaming. God gave it to you for a purpose. Understand that it's real. Your decision to bring it to fruition. So looking backwards and moving backwards is not the direction you want to be in. Move forward and be excited about it. Whatever you're imagining, bring it to fruition. Know that it's happening. Know that it's true. Hi, Melba, Michelle, John, Donna. So that's the juice that I'm serving tonight. Reflections are powerful. And that image that you see in that pond, that could be in a splash and just on your way, and you see a pond. If you ever stopped and looked at a puddle of water, I know I've done it before, just on your walk, and you see this puddle of water, and you've stopped and you looked in it, and you see that reflection. You are the true identity of what you are reflecting back at yourself. So whatever your thoughts are that you're looking at, that's reflecting back at you, what is it saying? What are you saying to yourself? Are you happy in the midst of moments? Happiness is everything. However, you can be happy, but joy is a true essence. Joy comes when you can accept yourself, when you can be who you were meant to be, when you can walk in grace. That's joy. But most people look forward to happiness. Happiness is that one step away. Be happy, but push forward to joy. That's the epitome of what love is, what God has destined love to be. Give it to yourself. Know you deserve it. Be it. That's all I have. That's it. Reflect over the past. It directs you to your now, which is your newness. Embrace your newness because it has your destiny sculpted right in the middle of it. Take notice of it. Be it. Remember why you left. But keep forward. It's all about keeping forward. It's not always easy, however, very well worth it. Okay? That's all I got. That's all I got. So on that note, I'm going to say, love without conditions. Always possess a positive attitude and soar in all you do. Love you, mean it. Smooches.